implementation of the Representation of the People's Amendment Law, also known as ROPAL. The commission, which was ordered to produce the evidence a month ago, is now seeking to rely on two documents it had tendered before the court as evidence of the implementation. And counsel for Aisha Wang and 4 others who have been charged for engaging in illegal mining has told the court the missing passports of the two of his clients have been found and handed over to the court registrar. The court therefore granted the 2 bail after the registrar confirmed he has taken custody of their passports. And prosecution in the Major Mahama murder trial have uncovered the biodata of the 17-year-old Ebenezer Samoa, considered a juvenile, standing trial. Evidence produced in court and corroborated by the father of the suspect indicate he sat for BEC in 2015 at the age of 19. The University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, has cautioned its management to suspend all graduation of students for this month because of lack of a council. Its national president, Dr. Harry Agbanu, warned if management proceeds, members of UTAG will not participate. And President Akufo-Addo says the commercial production of oil has set the tone towards making Ghana an energy hub in the petrochemical industry. Speaking after commissioning the Sankofa offshore project, the president insisted production will ensure energy security for Ghana. Those were our major news highlights. Remember, you can hear us live on 3FM 92.7. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, President Akufo-Addo says the commercial production of oil has set the tone towards making Ghana an energy hub in the petrochemical industry. Speaking after commissioning the Sankofa offshore project, the president insisted production will ensure energy security for Ghana.
The turning of the valve on the FPSO John Kufuor by President Akufo-Addo heralds the production of oil in commercial quantity. It will also aid the production of 45,000 barrels of crude in the first phase of production, up to 180 million standard cubic feet by the end of next year. The lead operator and largest investor, ENI, holds a 44.44% of stake in the field, while upstream trader Vitol holds 35.56% and GNPC has a combined carried and participation interest of 20%. The partners of the project said production is a big boost towards job creation. President Akufo-Addo was optimistic commercial production will see the country becoming a strong energy hub.
This is a landmark event in the development of oil and gas in Ghana and the efforts of this country to ensure energy security for its people. It is evident that we are steadily working towards the realization of the vision of making Ghana a petroleum hub and establishing a petrochemical industry here. Not only that, but also ensuring sufficient, reliable, and affordable clean energy for power generation and supply in Ghana to support economic activities and keep the country on the right path to desired growth.
He revealed the project has employed some 100 Ghanaian youth. The president called for a prudent management of petroleum resources.
The significance of the petroleum sector in the Ghanaian economy is evident in its share of gross domestic product, exports, and government revenues. Hence, efficient management of petroleum resources and its associated revenues is a national priority.
He said government will now focus on the exploration of resources onshore on the Volta Basin.
Kojo Poku is an energy expert and he's joining me via Skype. Mr. Poku, good evening, and we're grateful you could join us.
Good evening, Stephen. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Now, the FPSO John Ejekum Kufuor is expected to extract some 80,000 barrels of oil from the Sankofa Ginyame fields. This reminds me of the commissioning of the Jubilee fields. I mean, at the time, we were told X amount barrels, thousands of barrels will be extracted. And as of today, we're not sure whether they've reached the maximum production. Do you foresee any such things happening with the Ginyame fields, the Sankofa Ginyame fields?
No, not at all. I think the planning going into the Sankofa has been much better than the planning that went into the Jubilee. Jubilee was our first FPSO and our first well. So, I mean, there were some mistakes, and I think what they intended to do was to start and then do an incremental increase in production. We've not been able to hit the peak on the Jubilee. But I think for the ENI field, which is the Sankofa field, I think the 80,000 barrels per stream day would be immediately. I don't think there's going to be a gradual. They've started, you know, today was just mainly a ceremonial opening. They've been producing for some time now. So, I mean, I think they've been able to achieve the 80,000 barrels a day. But every now and then you might have certain conditions on the FPSO that might determine that you don't basically push it. But 80,000 is manageable, so they should be able to do that.
Interesting. Now, considering that Ghana holds about 20% in this stake, how much, for example, per month do you anticipate that Ghana will make from this 80,000 barrels?
Okay, you see, the way it works is that when all the partners, it's like the same thing that happens on the Jubilee, they lift as per what you see, every cycle the partners will lift. The 20% interest is only when what is sold. Now, government might decide to basically, the 20% stake they have in there, they might decide to take it in crude oil or they might decide to take it in cash. Whichever way you decide to take it. So if, let's say, within a month, 80,000 a day for 10 days, that is what, 800,000 barrels. You multiply that by the number of days in a month times 3, you are looking at about 2.4 million barrels. So in a month, if there's 2.4 million barrels, government might decide that, look, my 20%, I will take it in crude oil. Or you might want the 2.4 million barrels of crude sold at maybe, let's say, $40 per barrel. So whatever the accruing month is, government now gets accordingly. But mostly, like what happens on Jubilee, government normally takes its lifting, sell the crude, and take the money. But I mean, the option is yours. You can either take the crude or take the oil or take the cash.
And we also understand that some 170 million cubic feet of gas will be produced from the fields. How significant will this be to the energy sector?
Well, that is estimated to produce about 1,000 megawatts of electricity. So you can imagine that for what we have now, going forward, we would have gas to power as much as 1,000 megawatts. That is being a bit cautious in the estimation. 1,000 megawatts of gas is quite significant because you now have the early power, which was commissioned by the president not long ago. Then you can have other plants that will come on. One of the problems that we've had going forward was that when we now build the capacity, have the installed generation, now fuel security became a problem. So now that we're going to have the Sankofa gas coming on maybe towards the end of the year, because bear in mind, the gas is not ready until probably next year, first quarter next year. So when the gas is ready, then we'll be able to now pipe that into the various generation plants that is sitting idle without gas.
Now, the president says that production from the Sankofa fields actually sets the tone for towards making Ghana an energy hub in the petrochemical industry. This is ambitious, but do you foresee that this will be the case, that if production goes smoothly and all indications and benchmarks and expectations are met, we could become what the president calls a hub in the petrochemical industry?
Well, we've got a bit of way to go. Nigeria and other Angola and other likes in the Western Indian, our closest neighbors are doing something in the region of 1 million barrels and more a day. With about 100 from Jubilee and 80 from here, we are looking at about 180 to 200 barrels a day. That doesn't push us anywhere near becoming a force to reckon with. But guess what? We are starting from somewhere and we're getting somewhere. What will probably make this country see more of the petrochemical industry is if we move away from the FPSO base that we are doing. Some of us have advised the government that in the future, we should try and do a basin study so that most of the pipes will be laid beneath the sea. The crude oil will be piped to storage on the ground in Ghana onshore, so that other industries can also build around the storage facilities, refineries, petrochemical industries will happen. If we continue on the FPSO, all you're doing is that you have production, but the production is being done into a mobile unit, which is the vessel that sits on the sea. Then the exportation is done from the sea to outside the country. No development so far in the last 10 years that we've had oil production. We've not seen any significant petrochemical industry in Ghana. Going forward, I mean, the president thinks that, hey, he wants to push that. There's nothing wrong with having that ambition, but we've got a long way to go if we want to realize that. We need to move away from the FPSO base to now start having pipelines that will bring the crude offshore. The Voltarian Basin that we've talked of is about 2-3 years away. It's not something immediate. So we need to start thinking of bringing some of these facilities on our shores, which will now become permanent infrastructure, will create jobs, and will now promote the petrochemical industry.
Kojo Poku, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Kojo Poku is an energy expert, and this is still News at 10. We have more news for you. Welcome back. Now, rescue operation to retrieve bodies of trapped miners in the Prestia in Suta pit in the western region has been put on hold. This follows heavy rains in the area, which has rendered the pit weak. Over 17 illegal miners are feared dead in the mining pit after being trapped since Sunday following a heavy downpour. Let's now speak with John Amakwe, who is a journalist who has been following this development. John, good evening, and thank you again for your time.
Good evening, brother.
Now, critically, when I spoke to you earlier this evening on radio, you raised the very important issue we have been discussing since Sunday, that a decision was made to close off the pits, and this pit is expected to contain over 22 bodies, right?
Exactly, my brother, exactly.
So, what informed the decision to stop the operation and close the pits?
Yeah, the issue is when I spoke to the Deputy Minister of Finance, as I told you in the evening on radio, he explained that if they were able to, bring up all the dead bodies, would have been another chance for them to go there to work again after the regulation of the LMC over there has been done. But since they are not able to bring all the dead bodies, there is no option than to spill off every pit there, so that it means that they will not go back to work there again. So as I'm speaking to you now, as at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., the pit has been closed down, and now everybody is off.
So let me ask you, let me find out from you. I know that one of the key issues that was behind the decision to close the pit, when we spoke to the Deputy Minister of Lands and Forestry, he told us the bodies were decomposed and bloated and the stench was unbearable. So after covering the pit, did the stench go away?
Oh, indeed, indeed. After the covering of the pit, the stench has gone down. And I'm very sure that as time goes on, there will not be sent again, because the pit is very, very deep, about 300 feet downwards, as I told you in the evening. So I believe now, although the sand is not totally gone, but as time goes on, since it is covered automatically, it will go off.
So let me finally ask you my last question. Did the traditional authorities perform any rites at the site before the pits were covered?
Indeed. They call for the traditional leaders to come and also to perform their, tradition, pour libation as well as sacrifice. They also call some of the pastors there, the Catholic fathers there, to also come and do some short prayers, and after which, everything is over. But you see, I've also spoken to, when I was speaking to the Deputy Minister for Finance, Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, that's Benito Owusu-Bio. I asked him that will they continue, since they are fighting against illegal mining, with the aim of regulating? What are they doing about this particular issue? And he said if they were able to remove or to retrieve all the dead bodies inside, they would have, regulate the act of the galamsey over there to continue. But since...
John, thank you very much. This is a very sad situation, but we'll have to end our conversation. We're grateful for the updates you've been giving us since Sunday. John Amalkwe is a local reporter at Christian Suter who has been keeping us up to date with the situation there. Over 22 bodies are trapped there, we're told, and it could be more. That place has been they've been technically buried there. May their souls rest in peace. Let's move away from that. The Electoral Commission chairperson, Charlotte Osei, has directed 3 officers at the Commission to proceed on leave to pave way for investigations into the Commission's endowment fund. The Commission's head of communications, Eric Kofi Jakbasu, explained the Economic and Organized Crimes Office, EOCO, is investigating why some monies that were supposed to be paid into the fund were not paid. Jonathan Adams filed this report.
A letter from the Commission's chairperson, Charlotte Osei, Director Deputy Commissioner Eugene Opoku-Amankwa, Director of Finance Dr. Joseph Kweku-Asamoah, and Chief Accountant Kweku Owusu-Ejelabi to proceed on leave while investigation into the endowment fund continues. This follows Economic and Organized Crime Office EOCO's letter dated July 4, 2017, indicating it is investigating the loss of about 480,000 cedis from the Commission's endowment fund. EOCO therefore asked the chairperson to direct the 3 officers to proceed on leave whilst investigation continue.
Some monies meant for the endowment fund has not been paid into the fund. That is what is under investigation. This is a money paid into a fund administered by the management on behalf of what? Staff. So as to who is supposed to pay and hasn't paid is the subject of the investigation.
But the Commission's head of communications says no wrongdoing has been established.
Some people have been made to go on leave, to step aside, not on the basis of any wrongdoing or any adverse findings against them, but per the position they occupy in the scheme of things, okay, and for the integrity of the investigation process.
The endowment fund constitutes financial contributions from workers.
And the Electoral Commission has failed to produce to an Accra High Court evidence of the implementation of the representation of the People's Amendment Law, also known as ROPAL. The Commission, which was ordered to produce the evidence a month ago, is now seeking to rely on 2 documents it had tendered before the court as evidence of the implementation.
The two documents submitted by the Electoral Commission pointed out efforts made to implement the law, which was countered by the counsel for the plaintiff, Samson Ladi, indicating that the documents were insufficient and did not give details of the steps to execute the law. A roadmap that is drawn to execute the policy contained in the document could not outline timelines and exactly the plan to be taken. Counsel for the Electoral Commission prayed the court for 2 weeks leave to provide the court with additional information on the implementation of RUPAL. The EC on July 5 told the court they will rely on the 2 documents they had already tendered in. Lawyer for the plaintiff and the judge, Justice Anthony Yabua, did not take it kindly. 5 Ghanaians residents abroad initiated a legal action against the EC, seeking to compel the Commission to implement the Representation of the People's Amendment Law. Among others, the plaintiffs are seeking a declaration that each of the applicants' right to vote and entitlement to be registered as a voter for the purposes of public elections and referenda in the light of Act 699. It added various legal instruments are not subject to any condition precedent aside Article 42 citizenship, age and sanity of mind criteria.
And counsel for Aisha Wang and 4 others who have been charged for engaging in illegal mining has told the court the missing passports of 2 of his clients have been found and handed over to the court registrar. The court therefore granted the bail after the registrar confirmed he has taken custody of the passports.
At the last sitting, the court revoked the bail granted the 2, Gab Jingyang and Lee Gunjung, for not fulfilling the bail conditions ordered by the court. This was subsequently granted on July 5 after the defense counsel told the court the missing passports have been found and handed over to the registrar. He told the court they were found after a series of radio announcements. Earlier, the prosecution, Mercy Arthur, had substituted a previous charge sheet with a new one which contained facts of the matter that were not provided in the earlier charge sheet. Counsel for Aisha Wang and the 4 others also drew the attention of the court of the unavailability of an interpreter, which the prosecution indicated to the court arrangements have been made to secure an interpreter who was supposed to be present in court. The prosecution told the court 7 witnesses have been secured for definite hearing of the case on July 12. The University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, has cautioned its management to suspend all graduation of students for this month because of lack of a council. Its national president, Dr. Harry Agbanu, warned if management proceeds, members of UTAG will not participate.
The point is that members are becoming impatient, and they have given us up to the end of next week for the money to be paid, after which, as leaders, we may not be able to control what they will do next. My checks are telling me that the documents are lying on the table of the finance minister, who is supposed to give the final approval for the final authorization to Controller and Accountant General to process the money to be paid. But for some reason, he appears not interested or not in a hurry to process the document, to give the final approval. So that is what is holding back the payment of the book and research allowances.
And that's how we draw the curtains for News at 10. Thanks for staying and thanks for leaving your dial on 3FM 92.7. There's more news at 3news.com. Good night.